Hey, so I'm back. I know it's been a few days, huh? Working on my Indiegogo campaign, which I launched, which is doing terrible, but hey, gotta try. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. I'm gonna launch a Kickstarter campaign in July. We'll see if that's any better. Historically speaking, it seems it's probably not likely. Historically being not my history, but the history of early development projects. I get it. I mean, this is pretty early, and I'm trying to find funding just to get me through. But it is what it is. When you got backers or when you got a lot of followers, some people do a little bit better. But um, that is something I have yet to figure out. So for now, I will continue to work here. Okay, so current task, speed. Trying to get speed skill. Okay, so what I've been doing over the last week I was working on the tackling skill. Now, speed skill is a skill that pretty much everybody has. And so they got to have some way to compare to each other, right? So my formula I built back whenever using stats that I got from Stats Inc. when they were Stats Inc. They're now Stats Pass, I think. Basically, this was my formula, and each one of these is actually a formula to a link to another field that has more formulas in it. So it's got more, I don't know, more to it than those three little values. Adjusted by PR is pretty easy. Adjusted, as we got yak per reception. So basically, what we're doing here is these values are based on a player's perceived speed because of their average carry. Not the best. I'll admit it is not the best. There's a few different ways. I'm kind of looking at other things as well. That speed part one, that middle one, does a little bit more, breaks down into other parts, other statistics. But ultimately, what it comes down to is, there are some things that I have to figure out. Like, I take into consideration how many deep passes they're thrown, which means they're at least out there, right? That means they're moving pretty quick. They're a target for long passes, and generally that they're able to get down the field. It doesn't really matter if they caught it. I mean, that's a different skill, right? But the main question is how far down, how frequently are they being targeted at long distance? Now it becomes a little trickier with CBs, right? CBs and defensive players, speed is important, but there's so many other factors involved. Like one is maybe how many tackles they get. That's pretty important, right? So how many times do they tackle people? Because that means they're just in the crowd. They're fast enough to get to a character and make tackle attempts. Unfortunately, that doesn't actually make them good tacklers necessarily. So maybe they're fast to get to these things and they don't actually tackle anybody. I have no way to know that if they don't actually make the tackle. So there could be guys that are fast, like CBs would run into a tackle. Maybe they don't always get the tackle. Maybe they miss a lot of them, so it doesn't ever get recorded as a tackle, and therefore I don't know if they're in on those plays. Um, Also, you don't know if they're covering the deep guy or the short guy if they're covering people, right? So if they're covering well short, then that means they have good agility, good cover skills, but it doesn't make them fast. It might make them quick, got good acceleration, but that doesn't necessarily make you fast. And then you got linebackers and linemen. Neither one of them ever move that far. I mean, how fast can they possibly be? But there are still times they still have to rush people down. Defensive linemen, maybe a little bit more. Linebackers are fast, but it's like they get blocked all the time. So what's a good measurement of their speed? Again, you can try to say how much they're in the tackle, but if they're being held by block, that doesn't mean they're slow. It just means they're not, maybe they're bad at getting away from blocks. So yeah, it can be a little tricky to come up with a good speed measurement, short of actually having their speed. But the problem with that is you're probably not going to get every player's speed on any given year, right? So you might be able to find their rookie speed, what their 40 at the combine was or something. But that doesn't help you in their second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th seasons. You don't know. I mean, I don't even know if that kind of information is tracked. After your rookie, is there any way for the players be to really forward need to come up with uh, derived the or three. Yeah, so I need to do it for everybody. Do games. Huh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that Madden allowed people to tweak how much the speed matters. So if one guy is really fast, Madden's got so many problems. It'll be interesting to see how good 2025 is or 2026. Um, they always the hype is always, "Ooh, this is going to be great," and then it's like it's been pretty much every year for the last 20 years. There was a time when Madden was constrained. Everybody keeps saying how great NFL 2K is. I don't think it was the greatest football game, in my opinion, my humble expert opinion, was Front Page Sports Football, actually from the 90s. Wasn't graphically the best, don't get me wrong. I mean, graphically it was 90s. So compared to nowadays, it wasn't even the same ballpark. But as far as the underlying game engine and even the way the play is executed, especially if you were doing coaching mode, awesome. You could build defenses that could do what defenses are supposed to do. You could build offenses that you could run plays. It even let you create plays, which is actually a pretty impressive feat. That's a challenging thing to implement. I mean, yeah, you think just draw a line and these guys will just do it. Yeah, but you got to remember, you got to create the AI intelligence for the players to be able to handle what these guys are doing when they're running in weird places and doing weird things, which you were able to do with just about everything, and it was pretty cool. But that said, you could redraft the entire league. It gave you players. This was back before EA monopolized the NFL license, and once that happened, Dynamics, who owned the Front Page Sports Football franchise, bailed out. But it was, to me, one of the greatest games. I don't know if anybody ever plays. I don't even know if you can play. Can you play Front Page Sports Football anymore? All right, let's go. Let's go see something. YouTube. Let's see if anybody out there. Front Page Sports Football. There's a 95 and a 90. Let's look at 95. Anybody actually try to play this? Let's go see. Da-da-da.
Hickman takes a snap, handoff to Lassick, huge hole on the left side. Dallas on the scoreboard first. Dallas has the ball, 2nd and 5 on Buffalo's 37-yard line. Aikman takes the snap, fakes Damage Smith on a play-action spot serve and streaking down the field, throws deep. Touchdown! Michael Irvin, Dallas with a 2-touchdown lead. We're in the second quarter of action, about 8 minutes to go. Kelly drops back, fires a quick strike to Andre Reed on the left side. He has blockers, fits off to the races. He could go all the way. Looks like half the population of downtown Dallas is chasing him. Touchdown, Buffalo! From another angle, let's show you.
Actually, this is better graphics than I remember, honestly. I thought it was worse than that.
He's off to the races. 80-yard TD pass from Kelly to Reed. With a point after the score is Dallas 14, Buffalo 7.
That even pixel? I mean, what is it? That's like 3D. Those are like 3D models, huh? I mean, to some extent. I mean, granted, low grade, but.
Aikman takes the snap, pitches to Smith. Smith sweeps around the right side. Emmett breaks the tackle, gets a block, and look at him go. Emmett Smith, 45 yards and another Dallas touchdown. And Emmett with his 2nd touchdown of the day.
I don't even remember which one I used to play.
Buffalo down 31-14, but moving the ball with the no huddle. 3rd and goal on the Dallas 1-yard line. Kelly takes the ball. Here comes the Dallas linebackers. Kelly drops back to pass. He's looking. He fires. Touchdown, Buffalo! Buffalo is making a comeback bid in the 4th quarter. Trails 31-21. 2nd and 10 with 1:17 to go in the game. Kelly takes the...
I think I had all of them, to be honest, but I can't remember. It's kind of funny. It's funny, I remember these things, but it's like, it looks so generic. But I'm telling you, man, the features were so good in this game. You could create your own game plans and stuff. It was awesome. Oh, they're playing Broncos, of course. Because they're the greatest team ever, and who wouldn't want to play the Broncos? Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, the classic, yeah, the field. Ah, just remembering. These games are so good. It's like they move pretty well. I thought I remember seeing you could see. I thought it showed you the plays. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh no, I don't know. The tackling was pretty good. I mean, if you look at how well those guys actually did their thing, gosh, I'd be happy with that kind of stuff in my current game, to be honest. That's, I mean, there's a lot of things here that are just naturally going to be better just because. Like, notice how the numbers on the side degrade in size. Go from 1 to 8. The 1 is big and the 8 is small. I don't know why that is, but somehow that's whatever they were doing. Oh yeah, that's not happening, dude. See, look at the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just got smaller. I don't know if that was a design choice to make it look like it, kind of tapers. But that's 8 pages. You can click on any one of those numbers and it would take you to 8th page. So that's basically what, 32 plays per playbook? Oh, that's I don't even know who. I mean, do you have to have an old computer to play these old games? It's pretty slow. I mean, I would definitely, even if I could mimic this kind of character play, I, I'm just impressed. I don't know who's who on this. I mean, I don't know if there's guys. It has a number above his head, so he's obviously being controlled by a player. Um, it doesn't usually. I don't know, maybe it's the guy with the ball, but I think in general it didn't necessarily do that. Yeah, see, they never did get their fields down, but or their crowds down. Man, these games are so good. They're awesome. Just for their pure load of features and stuff you could do, drafting, multi-year. You could draft with other players. I mean, I don't know what you could do in the current stuff, but I'm telling you, taking the whole league of actual NFL players, and just redraft them all. You could, everybody could just draft their team out of whatever, and it'd just be like a random team. So you like get together with a friend or 2 or 3 or whatever. You guys just draft your teams. It may have only allowed 2 players, so I don't remember. I know you could, and you had to do a LAN deal. So you have to have both of them at the house, and you would like draft players. Oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, you could track the ball. You could actually change. You could set the camera object the way you wanted. I forgot about that. That's kind of what I did in my game so far. I mean, I built cameras like that. I don't have it where you could say where to track, but you could pick which angle you want. So they're more basic. But it's kind of cool. So they're attaching. They're letting the player decide which camera they're watching through. if you like certain angles or whatever. Tracking the object, the balls. You even have track object what? What else would you track if not the ball? Oh, yeah, see, that does show you a case.
Ready, set,
False start.
ready.
Huh. All right, let's get back to it. But front page sports football, the best, man. Little old school in its appearance, but man, the game was fun. Oh, look at that. Oh. 97. I don't remember playing 97, 98, to be honest. I remember playing the earlier ones. No, I wasn't a person who bought every year's game. I was a person who bought, a game if I liked it, just played it for a long time. And it was like, oh, they're going to do an upgrade. Let's see how much better the graphics are in 97, 98. I don't think they probably changed much. Oh yeah, players are definitely smoother. You can already see that. Nicer image here. Nicer borderline on the frame. This is wow, that one just jumped right to 98. It's not good, not playing at all anymore. So I don't think I ever had 98, to be honest. I don't believe I ever played it. I think there was something going on. I think what. See, I think when Dynamics had it. Wait, Dynamics was the early, I think, and Sierra was later. But Sierra used to be here in Washington, where I live, by the way. Way faster, huh? Because guys are moving way quicker.
Number 3 with the kickoff. Sanders starts back upfield, comes up the middle for a 20.
What?
Hi everyone, this is Howard David, and welcome to Sierra Sports Football Pro 99. We're here at Pro Players Stadium to see the Dolphins take on the Dolphins.
Dolphins are taking on the Dolphins? I didn't know you could do that. I never played this one. This is not.
Here's the kickoff. The catch is made by number 20.
That movement is weird. All right. I know. They're saying this is not working on speed skills. Well, it kind of is. It's all stuff you got to do, right? Got to learn. Got to learn what the competition is. What are we talking about? Now, obviously, if my stuff looked like that, it wouldn't play like that. Because I have a whole different concept of how mine is going to play. But got to keep learning what they're doing. In 98, I feel like I should be able to do at least what they did in 98, right? And yet here I am so intimidated about making models. I mean, they had a team of developers too. I think I did apply to work for Dynamics. They don't exist anymore, by the way. Sierra didn't. But it was back when I lived when they were around here, and I lived closer because it was south of here. I thought it'd be cool to work for them, but they were doing video games, and I was afraid. I did software development, but I had never done graphics, so I didn't know. To this day, I am still a graphics chicken. But now I said, screw it, taking it on anyway. All right, so speed. Let's open up my my formula. That's the base formula, but that's That's not enough. So what I'll probably have to do is I have to break down the first formula. So I gotta open up this guy. I will need to get the yak, so let's go ahead and get adjusted YPR. So we're going to say adjusted, and then adjusted yak for reception. I don't know if I needed adjusted yak, but we'll take that too. So I need to open up the actual game formula. All right, so calculating speed, that's this guy, and that's the formula you saw up there. And then we have speed part one, which is this middle piece. Now, speed part one takes into account their targeting. See, where are they on the field? So I don't even know why. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Okay, so targeting at 1 to 10, I only gave them an eighth of their targets at 1 to 10. Not highly. It's like, to me, it's not that impressive that, this is where you should be. All receivers can go there. They're always going to be in that area. But it also kind of breaks, I think, speed, right? Because if I weigh down and say, okay, well, targeted at 30, but I'm only giving them a quarter of those for other reasons. I think for big play purposes, I didn't want to give them full credit because it was, the quarterback throwing the ball to them. Now it kind of became, okay, well, this is a good indicator of speed though, right? So what I wanted to do is at targets at 30 plus, which I will do. I'm going to go get that one onto my logic here. We're going to go. Oh, hold on. I got to do my Taco Bell thing. Let's see here. See how fast I can do this. You have to go pick up my daughter in a moment. What did I get? I just click. As long as it's food, I just click. What was it? Hurry. What is it? It's a burrito of some kind. Burrito Supreme. Nice. All right, so I've now got my Taco Bell dinner for later. Uh, so yeah. All right, so let's get back to it here. All right, so we got our speed skill. We want yards per rush, yards per reception. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Oh, I guess my wife's picking up my daughter. Wait. All right, wife keeps texting me. No, it's not her fault. It's mine for answering, I guess, or at least telling her I'm not telling her I'm streaming. Okay, so the item I need here is to calculate my speed, which is to get targets. So let's go ahead and say get uh, targets over 30. Targets over 30. That's not what it is, though. I don't think it is. It's called get targets something, but it isn't get targets. Yeah, oh, it is targets over 30. Well, why is it asking me? Why is it not liking my? All right, let's go see. Get targets over. Get targets. Targets BLS. I have get targets. I think it's 30 plus is what it is. Get BLS. BLS on 30. Get to there. 41 plus receptions. Get rush 30. Get yak. Rush. Or get yards for reception. Get defensive. Wait a minute. Do I not have targets? Get 20 receptions. And yak. I have targets BLS and regular targets. Holy French fries, man, it seems I don't have. Yeah, excluded targets. I don't even know if I have. That are excluded targets. Four throws. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, well, all right. Well, I don't have get targets. There's targets. BLS. Nope, don't have that one either. I don't even have. I guess I just don't have my targets behind the line of scrimmage and stuff. All right, so a target BLS is right here. I was using this for a different thing. BLS mattered, and I was removing it, so or I was editing it. Apparently, I just hadn't come to a need for targets over 30, which, by the way, is actually going to be a different thing. It's a calculated field because it's 31 plus. The way this does it, its stats are 31 plus. Yeah, this is going to be. It's actually not 30. I'm sorry. It's get targets 31 to 40 yards. Then it's 41, not 41. Yeah, I know. It's trying to guess, but it's 41 plus. Now this one needs to be 31 to 40, targets 41 plus. It's calculated because The number of passes at 41 plus are very few. Just saying. It's I almost would give a player more credit for a 41 plus pass. A target's at 41 plus, which basically means the player is confirming that my wife is in fact picking up my daughter, so I won't have to stop until she gets home, I guess. Guess we're gonna go see a movie. What movie, you ask? And you didn't ask, but you're probably one of the new kind of live action animateds. Lilo or Dragon? Um, those are the two that we're most likely to see. I want to go see that movie though. I want to go see The Unholy Trinity. When's that one? That one's out. Oh, I think I want to take my son to see that one. I don't know. I know. I got to get this done. So people are saying both. Well, people are saying Stitch is good. I don't know if ooh 3D. I guess maybe not Stitch. We're either going at 7 p.m. or we're gonna have to go see 3D, which I am not a fan of 3D. It just looks weird. So yeah, she's got to come home and do some stuff. And we don't want to see. Life of Chuck. Which one is that? Anybody know what that is? Life of Chuck? Oh, oh, that's the one with Tom Hiddleston. Well, that one might be makeable by 4:15. Depends on how long it takes you to, I guess, boil the meat and stuff. Um, but yeah, uh, it's 4:15, so it's definitely cutting close. All right, so let's go. Let's see, I got that. I was thinking I wanted to give 41 plus targets a little bit more weight because to me that just means they're a little bit more important for the purposes of speed. Even 31 to 40 weighs more than me, like a 25. But let's go ahead and get the targets for 1 to 10. Well, we'll write them down. I don't know if I don't think I have targets. 21 to 30 is still pretty fast, especially if they're getting there regularly. But it doesn't really matter, right? Because it's going to weight itself. The more you have, the better it shows for your speed, kind of thing. So I don't really remember Life of Chuck. Does this have the correct spelling of his name? Hiddleston? Could I be eating this even? You know what? I think I might have inverted counts. In other words, I'm going to give people double the, or maybe even 5 times credit for 41-yard targets, half credit for 10 to 20s. I might not even do a, I might not do 31 to 40 targets. Well, let's, I just think faster players. All right, let's do that. I've decided. Let's go ahead and split this out here. I want to be able to see this thing here. Now we're going to go targets 31 plus. I don't know if I'm going to use that. Let's go with this instead. Let's go. I'm not going to use targets BLS or targets 10 to 1 to 10. I don't think that rate's enough. But at 10 to 20, well, go targets. Problem is, what if a guy doesn't? I mean, how do you do speed for like running backs? Running backs is going to have to be fully. I think I'm gonna have to go big play modifiers. Use big play modifiers for. I have a. I have my big play calculator. Honestly, I think if your long play on any given play is 70, 80 yards, you're fast because guys generally can't run that far and not get caught unless they're really fast. Only the fastest players in the league can get a ball and just be gone for 70 or 80 yards. Somebody will usually catch them. But to me, that's probably a pretty big bonus. But now, just because you don't get a 70 or 80 yarder doesn't mean you're not fast. It just means you never broke it, never got away. You were never able to hit that open zone. But so it's a little tricky there. So let's go ahead. We're going to say targets. We're going to say targets at 11 to 20 matter, and targets at 21 to 30. Yes, I can't do these guys. This should be 2. Plus, I think. Trying to decide if I want to do. We have yards per rush, yak per reception, and then we're gonna have to do a long too. I think. We're gonna do 41 plus 2 targets. 41. I am gonna just do 31 to 40 here. Since I did all the other BLSs, take the yards off of that. 40. Okay, now we got to weight these somehow. So I'm going to go 11 to 20 gets a 1. 21 to 30 gets a times 2. I'm not going to do control modifiers because these are going to be straight up times 3. Targets means they were out there. That means they were able to get out there in the time it took a play to develop, which is still pretty fast. Because you figure if it takes you, like fast players can do a 40-yard dash, what, in 4 or 5 seconds? That means if you were targeted at 40, it means you were thrown at pretty much 3 to 4 seconds. You got there pretty dang quick. Oh, come on, don't do that. Oops, I know I spell weighted. All right, now I'm gonna need total targets. I only haven't adjusted total targets. Yeah. Oh, I don't have an adjusted total targets. Hmm. I don't have a total targets either. No, I've got to have a total targets. Let's do it. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't think I do actually have the total targets. Let's just do this. Yeah, let's get targets. I don't even think it exists for. Well, could be wrong. Let's look because I don't know if I'm gonna do this. Yeah. Look at stats. Go see if I have end reception. Maybe there is. I know there wasn't an individual yak, but there might be an individual. There might be individual targets. Target. Oh yeah. All right. All right. So what is target? Not on here. All right. So it's end reception. I think this one. That one doesn't have fuzzy. So I don't have a get targets. I do have get targets, but it's not. Well, it's called target there, but end reception, end reception, target. Right. But All right, so we'll consider the total targets. We got to get this. We're going to get total targets. Get total targets. Is it total targets or is it just? I think it's just get targets. I don't think it's good. I don't think those are total targets. Oh, there is a total targets. Oh, hmm. That's actually not total targets, by the way. This is oh, I think I was building this and I changed my mind. Once I realized there actually was a target thing, so I realized there is a target. I don't need that. Okay, so these as a percentage of their total targets, and again, I don't care if they caught it, so I'm not worried about removing the bad throws and other crap. But because this is just more about that guy being where the ball was supposed to go, right? So I don't care about their success at the point at which they caught it. So we're gonna go targets speed factor equal. I'm pretty sure it's going to be divided by total targets. Yep. All right, so that's the target speed factor. Now we have now the question is, um, so by dividing it by 10, that's going to put whatever their rush, like if it's 5 yards per run, it's got to be a number that kind of works into their the target speed factor, which is a decimal point, right? So you got this many of your receptions are out there. So I might be having to be what's a good way? I mean, dividing it by 10 will bring it down to like if you're 5 yards, it would go down to 0.5. And then your speed factor, I want it to be semi. How do I weigh that? How do I weigh that against? So honestly, I think the targets out there are a better ratio than even yours because you're a big bruiser of a running back. Hmm. A bruiser of a running back isn't necessarily fast, but he might have a big average yards per carry because he's knocking everybody out of his way. So I replaced my daughter's handle on her car door. Her car door handle busted. Apparently those handles are plastic. Yay. Which is always nice, right? Plastic handles. So, um, and the old one was plastic too, so it is what it is, right? Um, so what I had to take a whole door panel apart to replace the outside piece. So I took all the handles off, all of the plastic sealer, and then I had to get into these metal holes in the panel and unscrew them to get the handle off. And then I had, when I put it back, I had to put these screws in that tap into the handle. They have the self-tapping screws. They basically can carve their way into plastic so they can get in there and get a grip. This one wouldn't do it because it was only this long of a screw, and the area before it even got to the hole was like 3/4 of that length. So it was really only had a tiny amount, and it would not grab the plastic. In fact, it was just stripping it out because it was just too small of an area to get a hold of. I tried to push hard, try to get it to start grabbing on. It would not grab, but it was on. Of course, I could hear it fall out after I had already assembled the handle, the whole door. But the door was holding. I mean, it didn't look like it was coming out. So, of course, now it's a big question of, will it stick? Will it stay in place? Because there's only two screws holding the doorknob on, so it's really just one handle being, holding it in place. The other screw had actually a metal hole, so when you screw in, it had a metal piece to grab into, so it's got a good hold. But the other one was just trying to tap into a very small area of plastic, and um, yeah. So anyway, I have to leave in probably 30 minutes, so let's finish this, Ken. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get the targets. I know what I'm going to have as a target speed factor, and I have a rush speed factor, but I got to decide how that's going to be determined because it's based on yards per rush. But what's a fair semblance of speed? A high yards per rush. I think I need to somehow scale them against each other. So basically, if receivers typically are faster than running backs, typically, not always, but typically, because running backs tend to have a little bit more muscle, they're a little bit more, a little more bulldozery. Most of them. There are some light running backs that are pretty quick, but they typically are, end around kind of guys. So trying to figure out how best to measure. And I don't necessarily think I could do something like tag the extra part. So I think what I would have to do is have the player get their max. No, not their max. It has to be whichever one they do the most, run the most, or receive the most. Gosh, I also need big plays. Mhm. Now, if you have a terrible quarterback, it's also kind of misleading, right? Quarterback can't throw 40 yards. He's never going to target you at 40 yards. It's like, dude, you're too far away, man. I can't throw out there. I'm accurate, but I can only do 31 to 40 yards. So think, oh man, how do I do this? What's a good? I want to see if I can scale people to be sort of close, or at least have a decent relation to their abilities. But what makes a fast receiver versus what makes a fast running back? You know what? Let's do this. I'm going to try something like this. Equals divided by, or how about multiplied? Multiplied by targets. For for reception. Then we're gonna we're gonna I want to take the speed factor, max of whichever one they use is their best. Sure. The problem is I'm not counting. You know what? Let's see about runs over 10 yards. That'll help balance out the running one because how about this? Reception speed factor, and then targets rush speed factor. And we're going to go ahead and get runs. Total rush attempts. I already have that, right? No, that's let's see. Runs over. I know it's 10 plus long plays. Total plays. I don't think long plays is a thing. Some of these things were just deduced. It's for rush. Defensive big plays. Offensive big plays. Get rush 10 yards. There we go. This should be overcomplicated. Yeah, I said it. It's probably overcomplicated. Now we're gonna have to rush speed factor here. And this is only offensive speed, even if this works. What you looking at, dude? What you looking at in the front yard? Now, they all got to be kind of scaled to each other, so I got to decide on that piece next. How do I want to scale these guys? What I'll have to do is maybe print out some guys, kind of get a feel for what I expect. I would hope receivers would have a higher speed factor, but I don't know that, and my numbers might be crazy because I multiplied. And I might even have to do something like multiply my runs over 10 yards because I think those are actually pretty good. That means you're a pretty fast running back because you're breaking through everything and frequently getting out there. So, but it's also a little iffy because again, bulldozer running backs might get there just because they knock people down. You know, that's that's another calculation I don't really have in there. But there's only so much I could do, and I'm trying to get generated speeds based on performance, not some random thing. So it'd be interesting to see like how players compare to like I'd have to get like their rookie combine speeds, which are available in the NFL, but it's only for the rookie season, right? So it'd be interesting to see and have, but it'd be hard to measure. Like a rookie speed has no stats to build on, so I don't know how close they rank without any stats. So I'd have to take like players' rookie combine speeds and then jump 3 seasons or so in the future and get some actual stats for those guys and see if it's there. And that's assuming that they stay in they're relatively the same speed for 3 years. They might go faster, so. But I don't know. Some players get faster, some players don't. So it's just if you assume everybody stays the same speed, that like they have next gen stats, which use GPS, but it only works on a few players in the league, right? So it's like the best players, or when a guy's streaking down the field, it's like, okay, he's moving pretty fast. And I don't even know how they use next gen stats on players that. I mean, how do you get next gen stats? And you just have like a laser pointing at them, go, okay, that guy's moving roughly this quick, or you can use a speed gun, I guess. I mean, you figure a person though, even at high speed, at its fastest, is not moving more than what 20 miles an hour. And that's pretty freaking fast. But what is 20 miles an hour? That's 5 miles. That's the 3 minute mile speed. That's some pretty freaky fast speeds. Is that right? 3 minutes a mile? Because if at 20, it's 10 at 30, 5 at 15, or yeah, 3 minutes a mile. So um, that's really fast. I mean, like I never did break 5 minute mile. Um, my best was I ran the 2 mile in high school. I ran a 5:20 and a 5:24 were my best miles. So that's crazy fast. But 5 is fast. 5 is a good speed. It's high school top quality high school player. Maybe not the best, but it's like you're fast if you're doing 5 minute miles. You're not gonna go on to win the Olympics or anything, but you're pretty quick. People will consider you fast in your life if you're running 5 minute miles, assuming you can keep it up till it matters. Okay, so I think I've got a speed skill. I just got to figure out how to scale these now. Okay, so now this is only for offense, by the way. So this is like an offensive speed skill. And I got to figure out how to scale everybody on the same set of numbers. So I've got to come up with a defensive skill. I mean, I could have running back speeds and scale them into the same range as receiver speeds and then have defensive players, God, that's gonna be tough. Okay, so we could do something like this. Let's go RB, oops, RB speed. Receiver speed. How do you do like a QB speed? I mean, everybody's got to have speed, right? QB speed. And the question is, how do you know? I mean, most QBs are slow. There's a few fast ones, like the best of the best, who rush. You know, guys who get a lot of rushing yards. It's a lot the same for QBs, right? They're going to have. Maybe you could scale it differently because they're going to have. I mean, do you also punish them for like? Is it considered a rush when they're sacked? There's DB speed. I have no idea how to figure out the speed of a lineman. I may just DBs are anybody who's not a lineman. Linebackers, safeties, corners. And it's really hard to calculate because you can't say it passes defense. I mean, nothing there has enough targets to figure. And DBs aren't in on tackles very often because they're covering guys. They're only going to be in on tackles related to the guys they're covering. All right, let's talk to my AI friend here.
Yo, Kenneth, what's new?
Yo, hey, so I'm working on trying to calculate speed based on statistics for NFL players. The one player I have, the one thing I kind of have based on wide receivers and running backs, I'm using the number of times they're targeted and percentage of how many total targets at long distance, like 30 to 40 yards is a pretty indicator that they're pretty fast. Big plays, also a pretty good indicator. If they've ran their longest runs are 70 or 80 yards, that means they were able to outrun a lot of players and thus got a lot of yards. But the problem I'm having here is beyond running backs and receivers, I'm having trouble figuring out what stats I might use to calculate lineman speed or defensive line even, because they're not constantly chasing anything and there's no statistic that determines that. And even to some extent, DBs, yes, they cover receivers, but I don't know what stat might show what skills they're good at or what speed they are.
Yeah, it's trickier with positions like linemen and DBs. For defensive backs, you might look at pass deflections, interceptions, and coverage stats. For linemen, sack numbers, tackle for loss, and QB pressures can hint at their explosiveness. While not perfect, these can offer some insight into their game speed. It's definitely more nuanced compared to the straightforward speed stats of wide receivers and running backs.
Right. Okay, thanks.
No problem.
T.T. Karama, how you doing, man? I'm struggling to figure out how to figure out DB speed. I was getting AI's idea. And I was kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, there's passes defense, which implies that they're pretty good at covering. It doesn't necessarily mean they're fast. She didn't even mention tackles, which to me do matter. I mean, that's also, how many tackles are you in on? And thing is, like I said before, defensive players, like DBs, like corners, CBs, they don't, they're not in a lot of tackles because they're covering guys. They don't, they're often like down the field or somewhere odd and far away. Makes it kind of difficult to determine their tackles. Like a lot of guys, like we got, these guys have a lot of tackles, a lot of assists. Sacks matter, like I'm saying, stuffs I think are pretty good because that means you get to the lineman pretty fast. It's a good amount of speed there. I mean, it's tricky with things like passes. Good grief, this guy had 25 passes defense. It's like 3 times as much as anybody else. Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, wow. Oh, they got a couple more down here. Vonnie. Something weird though. Why are they highlighted? There's something strange about those guys. Brandon Flowers. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what the numbers. Why are some gray and some weren't? But ultimately, it's a little tricky to figure out the speed of a DB. I mean, you can, like, in their games played, I mean, like, you could be a super fast player, but only play occasionally because maybe you're terrible at tackling or terrible at pass defense. So you're going to get kind of a weak speed rating because it doesn't matter that you run fast, you don't get there. So the game is going to give you a terrible speed rating. Total what? It just says total games and total. Is that total tackles, assists, sacks, yards, stuffs? Can't be yards. Oh, it must be total tackles because 47 and 12, 60. Okay, so yeah, it's tackles plus assists. And then on top of that, it adds in sacks, which are important. And it does mean you were able to run down the QB. In some cases, you didn't just run up to him, you actually caught him. But it doesn't say like how many plays were they in, so it's hard to scale them because you want to kind of scale it too, right? So if a guy's a rush specialist and all you do is have him in on pass plays, he might only play 30% of your plays. So if your defense is on the field for, let's say, 80 plays, no, not even that, no, let's say 70 plays. Your defense is on the field for 70 plays, and this is probably on the high end. And you're only in there because you're in there for passing situations, and you're meant to rush the QB, and so you're only in there for 40% of the plays, which means you're going to be in there for about 28 plays. And if you get 4 sacks, that's a lot. But I mean, if you get any number of sacks in 28 plays, that's better than playing the whole game and getting 4 sacks and 3 sacks. So you're going to get that many more plays involved. So it's difficult to measure people based on stats. Like, I might have to adjust these stats when I have other options, because I think you can have. I think there are stats that show how many plays you actually played over the season, because it would be ranked over the season. I wouldn't be messing with it per game. That would be a pain in the big fat hairy behind. I don't like what. Oh, is this special total, special tackle, special something, 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 special teams? I would guess it's special, right? I don't even know any idea what special A would be. Special. Special tackle, special assists, helping people out on special teams, special total. It must be like kick returns and other nonsense. So some of these guys must be on more. Oh, look at him. He's got a lot. George Wilson. He was a full-timer on the special teams. A couple of these guys got 12, 19 even. Who's that? Nate Jones. Only 264 of these guys. So, yeah, I think the math is going to have to just be kind of flaky. And then I'll have to scale everybody over a 10. So like if I have a speed or even over 100, whatever it is, I'll scale them over 100 based on other running backs, based on other receivers. But I don't know if that's even fair, right? Because it's like receivers are faster. So if I scale receivers on the same scale as I scale running backs or linebackers, it's almost like they all need to be scaled together. So my numbers, or maybe I just give like running backs get like a 90% scaling, maybe 90, just because they're not going to be as fast, they get a 90%. And then DBs, which aren't necessarily as fast, might also get only like CBs might get their full credit, whatever it is, but anybody else would get like an 90%. Not very many. No, I guess that's not true. Ugh, it's tough. Anyway, I gotta head out, man. I gotta go pick up my daughter. So I guess I'm not getting speed done. Too much talking for me. The talking through it is not a problem. It's the distractions along the way, but that's my fault. I will get speed done maybe tonight. Till then, take it easy, Karama. And anybody else who checks this out in post, leave me chats or leave me